Fourth motion, Senator van Turnhout.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome Siobhan Creighton from the Royal College of Physicians of Ireland and Suzanne Costello from Alcohol Action Ireland. The issue I've raised with Minister for Education is in relation to the role that the drinks industry is trying to develop in relation to education of our children in Ireland. Firstly, Minister, I begin by applauding the Government for the Public Health Alcohol Bill, and as a member of the Health and Children Committee, I've been very much involved in the consultations and the process, and if anything, of course, I wanted to go further, but I certainly will do everything I can to ensure that it comes into law. But as part of that consultations, Minister, I suppose the first red flag went up for me, because we saw, for example, the Alcohol Beverage Federation of Ireland start saying about the industry in 2014 decided to refocus its initiatives in the education space and concentrate activity with drinkaware.ie. It's currently establishing Drinkaware as an organisation whose work will be modelled upon the influential UK Drinkaware Trust. Now, unfortunately, Minister, is that if you look at independent evaluation of Drinkaware in the UK, it is not a model that we want to see in our schools. It has not come out well of an evaluation. No surprising, the drinks industry believe it is excellent, which makes me even more worried about it. Minister, the second flag for me was in relation to the Stop Out of Control Role Models campaign, which is due to produce its report shortly. I can nearly see what this report will say, because this report will say we need to educate our children, because this is the constant mantra of the drinks industry, that we need to educate, and if everybody was educated, this would reduce our risk in relation to alcohol-related harm. We know, all the evidence shows us, education informs our behaviour. It does not change our behaviour or influence our behaviour. That's why we bring in laws for speeding, why we bring in different legislation, because we all know what things are good and bad for us, but we need legislation there at times to do it. So, if you look at Drinkaware, they have advertised for a post, an education programme manager, and within that post, they do talk about working with schools directly, even though I know that their spokesperson has said that they don't intend it. Well, then they've misrepresented an ad. They've talked about working with teachers, unions, principals, professional development service, including the Department of Education, the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment. So they really want to be embedded with our education system. And Minister, the reason I know this, I know somebody who went for the job in Drinkaware. They didn't get it, but they were told about the Role Models campaign, and this is what it's going to lead out to. So we don't have anything surprises here. And I put down the question because on the 23rd of April, I know the HSE doesn't get applauded that often, but I want to applaud them most heartily, because they came out with a statement saying, we are no longer going to take any money from the drinks industry. We will not be associated with the drinks industry, particularly when it comes to public health advice or partnerships in any form. A really unequivocal statement in relation to our public health advocacy. And for me, this very much backs up what the World Health Organization has told us. They've told us public health policies concerning alcohol need to be formulated by public health interests without interference from commercial interests. So, Minister, I really want to get assurance here today that the drinks industry will have no role in our schools. The HSE has worked on the SPHE model with the schools. I am concerned in relation to the aforementioned role models that we have. The National Parents Council Primary has put their name to it. I really hope that they withdraw. The National Parents Council Post-Primary are much more stronger, and they've distanced themselves and said they would question the motives of any campaign funded by the drinks industry in relation to educating of our children. So for me, Minister, I put down this motion because I believe the time is right. It backs up what is government policy. We can't just leave it to see what people think. The majority of people do not know that Drinkaware equals drinks industry. Now, the idea of the tobacco industry going into our schools and telling children about anti-cessation measures on smoking would appall us all. It should appall us that the drinks industry even think that it is acceptable to go into our schools. Now, for me, what will be reprehensible is if the Department of Education says, sorry, there's nothing we can do about it. It is not acceptable for me that they have any hand, act or part in the education of the children of Ireland in whatever costume they choose to wear. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I'm taking this today on behalf of my colleague Janice Sullivan, who sends her apologies. The Department of Education and Skills is working very closely with the Department of Health in relation to the overall Healthy Ireland agenda. This encompasses cooperation in a range of areas including physical activity, healthy eating, students' well-being as well as substance misuse. At a national level, the Department of Education and Skills is represented on key government structures that provide a coordinated approach to address substance misuse. These include the National Coordination Committee for Drugs and Alcohol Task Force. Minister O'Sullivan does not believe it appropriate for her to write to schools to prohibit particular materials or resources that may be developed by particular organisations, including the drink industry. This could form a dangerous precedent for the future. However, officials of the Department of Education and Skills will continue to cooperate with the HSE and the Department of Health to ensure a coordinated and partnership approach to alcohol misuse and a range of other areas that are encompassed by the Healthy Ireland agenda. One recent example of such cooperation is the development of healthy lifestyle guidelines that is currently being finalised. This guidance is intended to encourage schools to promote physical activities, healthy eating and encourage schools' participation in the Healthy Promotion School Initiative, which is supported by the Department of Health and the HSE. It is important to recognise that while education has a role to play in addressing the problems of alcohol misuse, behaviour changes will not happen without the support and cooperation of parents, industry and society as a whole. Parents have a responsibility to help children and young people to adopt a sensible and responsible attitude and behaviours in relation to alcohol and drug abuse. At present, the education sector is supporting national policies on substance misuse. In particular, schools are equipping their students with the key skills and knowledge to enable them to make informed choices when faced with a range of difficult situations. This includes providing students with age-appropriate information on the issue of alcohol abuse through aspects of the curriculum such as the social, personal and health educational programme. This programme is mandatory in all primary schools. It also forms part of the new mandatory well-being component of the junior cycle, along with PE, civics, social and political education. Schools are encouraged to deliver a social, personal and health education programme in the senior cycle. The substance of use modules of the social, personal and health education curriculum focuses on the issue relating to the use and misuse of a range of substances. It actively seeks to promote healthy and responsible choices by students in a range of areas, including alcohol. The latest data taken by the Department of Education and Skills Lifestyle Survey 2012 indicates that 90% of primary schools and 100% of post-primary schools provide their students with information on alcohol abuse through social, personal and health education and other means. These results were almost identical to the position reported by schools through the 2009 Life Skills Survey. The 2015 Life Skills Survey is currently being completed by the schools. Minister O'Sullivan hopes to publish the results before the end of the year, and this will allow the measures of the schools' progress in the area since 2012. Schools have access to a number of programmes and resources that supports the delivery of social, personal and health education and increases students' awareness and well-being, including drug and alcohol use. Example includes the Walk Tall programme for primary pupils and post-primary resources available from the Professional Development Services for teachers called On My Own 2 Feet. It is a matter for schools and teachers in the first instance to determine what resources and supports they will use to support the implementation of the curriculum. Teachers are equipped to make such decisions as a result of their initial teachers' education and the ongoing supports provided by the Professional Development Services for teachers. I am confident that teachers are best placed to identify the most suitable resources to assist them in delivering the social, personal health education curriculum in their classrooms. But Senator Kelly, just I've listened very carefully to your contributions, and as you said, you've raised the red flags in relation to the drink awareness and the industry within that. I certainly will take that element of you've raised very strongly and very logically in the House here today, and I will go back to the Minister. Also, in the whole idea of education and behaviour and role models, and your total concern of the drink industry being involved both in primary and national schools, I think you make some very good points, and I will ensure that the points you have raised in the House now is highlighted to the Minister, and I would ask her to take due consideration of what I think is at least three very important issues that you've raised in the House this afternoon.
Thank you very Much, Minister, and I do appreciate that you may not be in a position, we are not in a position to answer my questions, but perhaps you could also relay these questions to the Minister. In the Drink Aware job advertisement for Education Programme Manager, the first point is to manage relationships with key relevant stakeholders, including the Department of Education, the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment and the Professional Development Service for Teachers. Now, these are all within the ambit of the Minister. I cannot see any reason for the drinks industry to have a relationship with the Department of Education or curriculum assessment. So I would ask the Minister's assurance that they will not have any relationship with them. And secondly, I'd like the Minister, I appreciate that you can't write to the schools to say that they can't do this, but at the very least, could you write to the schools and advise them Drink Aware equals the drinks industry. It is nothing else. That's the costume that they choose to wear today, is Drink Aware. They'll come up with something else when people are exposed about Drink Aware, but schools need to be warned. We need a warning bell to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I certainly will raise those points. In fact, I have a meeting with the Minister this afternoon, so I will articulate, and I'll also ask her to look back on your contributions this afternoon in the House and to reply to you directly.
Thank you very much, Minister.
Minister, the House stands adjourned until 3:30.